Have some respect.
Show me what she's done.
As Lewis
Her
just
2
tries
title
to
reigns
crap on
that amount of
wrestling
nothing.
legends in terms of Goldberg and Natalia.
Brian, tell me who she beat during the reign. Who did she beat? Who did she even get the title from?
I'm mad she beat Naomi. That was the pissed off part about it. She beat Naomi.
And you want to support her. And you want to support her.
No, I'm just I'm just saying you gotta respect the years as a veteran. I mean,
oh my god, you guys in all this respect and like, especially with the whole Hogan bullshit. Now you're gonna give me like Natalia's really.
We'll get into that later. We're gonna hold on to that until later. So you can go ahead, Daniel.
I can't wait to give Hogan the shovel.
Welcome to this edition of Ring Takes here, as we're getting into the road to Backlash, as well as our first round of the GOAT bracket that we started last week. If you want to check that out, check out our old videos, our playlist from Ring Takes on YouTube. But we're going to start this one with the WWE Draft that happened last week, starting on SmackDown and then corresponding on Raw, and there were a couple picks afterwards. I'm just going to go through real quickly of the draft here. On the Raw brand, we have Cody Rhodes, we have Becky Lynch, we have Imperium as a group, Gunther, Ludwig Kelser, and Giovanni Vinci, Matt Riddle, Drew McIntyre, The Miz, Shinsuke Nakamura, Indy Hartwell, Apollo Crews, Candice LeRae, Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, Dexter Lumis, NXT UK or NXT, you want to say, JD McDonough's there, Natalia, the Viking Raiders, Zoe Stark from NXT, Maximum Male Models, of course. SmackDown goes with the Bloodline, which was interesting. I think we will talk about Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman separate from the Usos. Bianca Belair, the Street Profits, Edge, Bobby Lashley, the OC. Mia Yim is still a part of that group, which is interesting to me. Damage Control, Alba Fire, and Ilsa Dawn from NXT UK. Hit Row, Lacey Evans, and the part of a bunch of other people that got drafted here. What were your guys' thoughts on the WWE Draft?
Well, for me, I kind of thought it was like a little underwhelming in the sense that a lot of the top talent, with the exception of Drew McIntyre being on Raw and Lashley now being on SmackDown, and maybe Bianca Belair moving on SmackDown. Aside from those 3 moves, and obviously the switching of Gunther going to Raw, bringing in the Intercontinental title, exchanging with Theory, going to SmackDown with the U.S. title. Aside from that, when you look at their top talent, I mean, the rosters in a sense were pretty much laid out as they prior to when Triple H initially took over creative. There wasn't really. I mean, you have a couple of moves here and here. I mean, I love the NXT call-ups, especially Pretty Deadly. The tag
yes,
team.
they got put over to SmackDown. Yep.
They're on SmackDown now. Then you got Alba Fire, Isla Dawn. I love the
roster on.
Yeah,
that was a good addition as well.
Yeah, especially I love JD McDonough, or Baby Finn, as I like to call him. Yeah,
Evil Finn.
But I mean, when he comes up, I mean, if they don't want to keep him on his own, I have a feeling they're gonna just put him in the Judgment Day because him and Finn have training. So. And then probably start the storyline with him and Dominic about who's the youngest prodigy in this group now. Other than that, I'm still trying to figure out why, in a funny sense, like why Edge got drafted. And because in my mind, in a funny sense, it's like, you're drafting a guy who says that that his retirement's going to be in Toronto, and what event is that going to be at? It's not going to be SummerSlam. It's not going to be SummerSlam in Detroit.
SummerSlam's in Detroit. I thought they were going to Toronto for SummerSlam. I thought they were.
Okay,
so I'm a little confused at where they are right now.
Okay, so we don't know where the Toronto event's going to be. So if that's the case, and he's actually going to be around for like a full year, then drafting Edge obviously made too much sense.
Hey, I wouldn't mind another Edge run as a champ. I support it.
Yeah.
I think he's on the wrong brand for that.
Is he on Raw? Wait, is he on SmackDown?
He's on SmackDown.
Yeah, but when you look at the top on the top on SmackDown, you got. I mean, obviously you got Roman, but when you got people as far as who's going to chase Roman, you got Edge, you got Lashley, you got AJ Styles in the OC. I mean,
Austin Theory.
Yeah, you got Austin. Theory. So I mean, so you kind of need Edge on the show because eventually Edge is going to chase him again. So
yep.
Mm-hmm. I'd be happy if Edge speared Reigns and won the title. I'd be happy with that. Come on.
That's not going to happen. The LWO also got drafted to SmackDown. Damage Control got drafted to SmackDown. I'm trying to remember who else. There were a couple other people.
Did the Usos even get drafted anywhere?
They got drafted to SmackDown as well.
Oh, they did. See, this
one. It didn't make any sense.
The draft is just so confusing because, like, when you just put up that list, I'm like, okay, you got Dexter Lumis, Candice LeRae. Did Johnny get drafted?
Yeah,
he's going to be on Raw.
He's going to be on Raw.
They're basically basically reuniting the way. Yeah, that's basically what they're doing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Minus Theory because he's on SmackDown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What else?
I don't know. I mean, I saw what I saw, but I just feel like I don't like how like not everybody is drafted, and there's still this like, oh, free agents. Oh, again, here Brock can do whatever he wants, can go to this, there. Blah blah blah. Are they gonna give Roman that treatment if he like loses the title or whatever? Why isn't Roman getting that treatment? Is that how we're gonna continue the Cody him feud? Whatever.
Eventually when he loses, he's gonna take some time off and then go after that World Heavyweight Championship. I mean,
I saw a thing where they were like, I saw a thing where it was like, wow, that belt would look great around Roman's waist right now.
His 3 belts. There was a meme.
I'm like, you greedy ass mother.
There was a meme going around. So they debuted that belt, right? That World Heavyweight title belt, and they had Roman with it at WrestleMania. And then they said 2024, and they had another belt, and they had it with Roman Reigns. I'm like, I don't think about that. As the free agents part, I think the free agent part for me is basically break open glass emergency. Brock Lesnar, if in case of a storyline or they need something, Brock Lesnar can switch between both brands. Moss can come in and do the same thing, kind of be that type of heel factor that just ruins everything. So I think that's the part of the free agents. As for the rest of the draft, I feel like on the Raw side, they kind of built it up. Seth is there, Cody's there, Becky Lynch is there, Shinsuke Nakamura, Gunther's there. I feel like with the international run, they're going to use this world title basically as the drawing card, right? Whoever's the champion is going to fight Gunther. They're going to fight Shinsuke. They're going to fight Drew McIntyre. So I feel like there's a little bit more international flavor on Raw where they kind of did on that. But I feel like that's where they're going to go, especially if a guy like Cody wins the title. He's the American. He can be the baby face going into these territories and other pay-per-views, other countries and stuff like that, and really market it and come back to SummerSlam. I feel like that's what they're kind of using this title for. As for the SmackDown side of things, I am happy that they did put at least Bianca Belair, Charlotte, and Asuka on the same brand, right? Like we're gonna get some type of matches there. I feel like they were like that part was going to be the workhorse for the women's division overall, right? Like they also have Damage Control, Bayley, Io Shirai, Dakota Sky. So there's some developing there. I feel like they're going to be doing down the line of that where the draft is happening. I feel like the draft was okay. As Brian said, it was a little underwhelming. But what do you guys think about the actual split between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns?
Go ahead, Lewis. Go ahead.
I know. I don't care. Some way, somehow, they're gonna go back to that story. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know if Roman's just gonna one day jump ship, be like, and then Cody's gonna be like, I'm coming back after you. I don't know. If Cody is the one to win the title first, I think that's a little underwhelming because I feel like I'm kind of a Seth guy right now. I feel like Seth definitely deserves that title, especially since he's just been like he's the top guy without a title. you know, and I feel like this is definitely like something that he needs right now, just to because like the fact that he's just getting put in random matches with like Omos or then the celebrity feud with Logan Paul, like he's been in like limbo purgatory for like forever because
like he doesn't need those type of rubs.
Yeah,
like he's above it.
Like,
he's above that.
He's just good to he can work with anybody, but that's all he's getting. Like, and I was talking about this last time where I'm like, when was the last time we had a Seth Rollins like championship run? And he was like, and he actually held the title for like a good long while, and like he was still like at the top. He was like full blown heel, which is he's still kind of like a heel / baby face. Yeah, he's in betweener, but I feel like he definitely needs it. I don't think Cody needs that. I think he has to finish this whole thing with Roman. But if he wins the title, I don't know if they're gonna go back to it. I don't know what that looks like, but we'll see.
Well, initially when I saw the draft on SmackDown, I was kind of pissed off by it, but the only way I can see them somehow continuing with this is if maybe Cody wins Money in the Bank.
That too. That actually wouldn't make a lot of sense.
You got to remember, last year's Money in the Bank theory with how he ended up cashing in, and we already know that Money in the Bank as a concept has kind of fallen off in the recent years. So if you really want to rebuild Money in the Bank, how about having Cody win it? And I know a lot of people might not agree with this, either cashing in for a title match at SummerSlam, or if you really want to get bold, cashing in at WrestleMania. Actually, WrestleMania.
But I wonder if they're going to change the rules for the. Well, and that's the thing: is Money in the Bank going to be a specific brand pay-per-view? Is it going to be Raw's or is it going to be SmackDown?
No. I think that's a way to cross brand. I think that's a way to cross brand on those.
Money in the Bank is considered one of their big ones now, so they'll definitely do that one.
That would be a way to kind of satisfy everybody in terms of like if you want to put the belt on Seth, there's still enough talent on Raw to carry that, right? And then if you want to go Money in the Bank and then have Cody cash it in, that's a way he can cross over and kind of break rules and kind of maybe even go against the general manager in that case, right? Like kind of be the guy going against the grain with that cash in going to another brand, right? Because we've seen that kind of sort of happen, right? So if he's able to do that, that's a way to continue that storyline and kind of have him go against the bloodline and Roman Reigns and stuff like that. I do feel like it would be interesting if he did cash it in at SummerSlam and say, "Hey, I want to match at SummerSlam," because we haven't seen that, right? Like we've seen Ken Kennedy say, "Hey, I'm going to cash it in at WrestleMania," and then get goaded into against Edge to cash it in and lose, right? Lose the briefcase, right? Which was dumb, but in terms of Cody doing that, I think that's an interesting way to continue that story if they were going to do that. But I was with Brian on it. Like when they initially did that, I was kind of like, why are they doing that? Like, especially when we know Cody needs to go face Roman Reigns. Like that was the story we're invested. This Brock Lesnar thing is only going to be a roadblock or whatever the case may be. But now the draft is happening. We're getting further development. We got guys like Shinsuke. We got Gunther. We got Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins on Raw. So it's like there's some guys there. If that title comes into play here, we can have some good matches, looking down the line. Like we can have some entertaining matches, fatal 4-ways, 3-ways, whatever the case may be in the matchup for the title. We could have that going forward. So I'm like, I can understand it from that standpoint of he doing that. And then maybe after Royal Rumble, maybe he's not the champion at that time or whatever the case may be. And then he changes his mind and goes to try to go after Roman again, whatever the case may be. I did like how it did break down. We got AJ on SmackDown, of course, as well. So that's another matchup we could have there. Bloodline versus the OC, I guess, in that scenario. Sheamus is still on SmackDown. I believe the Brawling Brutes are still on SmackDown. So Sheamus could be put in that picture as well. So you're kind of getting a new flavor there and seeing what's happening, returning stuff like that. So hopefully the draft isn't hopefully people will remain on their separate brands and we don't have too much crossover. Hopefully that doesn't get sick in like a week. Hopefully they actually try to develop some type of storyline. And I believe I saw something with Triple H saying, hey, like this is about character development right now, especially with the Sami Zayn storyline with the Bloodline. how that developed. He talked about how that developed over the time, and he's like, that's what we really want to do with the overall roster. So I'm like, hopefully that's where we're going with this.
So did Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn get drafted to Raw?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're still the champions.
But see, this is what I don't get.
I'm confused about that too. So now are they splitting the tag team titles, are they gonna just
if you're gonna take the title away from Roman, why not do it the same thing with those tag titles?
I think eventually they're gonna do that. They just haven't gotten that far yet.
Eventually they're gonna make it
not that hard.
They do have tag teams on each. They do have tag teams on each brand, and it's like you guys drafted a group here, you guys drafted a group here. What's happening with those belts? It's like you're not going to have those guys cross-brand each other. Like that's what the whole point of the draft was to stop that. So I do eventually feel like they're going to either create new belts. Maybe this is a way to create new belts, do something different, or strip them. I mean,
I think they were just trying to. I think they were just trying to get their roster set first, and then work out all the details with the titles and such afterwards. So probably after Backlash on Raw, they're probably going to make an announcement about it.
Still, I just feel like
they got the old man in the basement creating the belt right now.
God of War, fucking.
He's creating the belt right now as we speak. He's ready for SmackDown.
Yes, but I don't like, and that's another thing. Like if they don't split up the titles, it's just like I don't know. It feels like if they don't split up the titles and then keep them on, what does that mean that whoever's champ defends them on both brands or like?
I mean,
I don't know. It's just I really want these tag titles split because it's just like you have all these damn faction tag teams and literally nobody's going after a fucking title. They're just they're just fucking going after each other to go after each other. I thought that was the point of the draft. Like, hey, we're gonna have actual champions on each brand. Start that feud up. And that's also another way to do tag team tournaments. You can have that going throughout the summer, crown new champions, whatever the case may be. At least give these guys something to fight for, right? Yeah,
that's the whole point.
Which is also the same thing with the female tag titles. It's like you draft up the fucking NXT women's tag team titles, and then it's weird. Like.
At least we got a little information on the women's title in NXT. Like,
did they leave their titles on NXT?
They didn't. They actually had a title defense on NXT against Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, who also got drafted to Raw, and they won. They retained. So they're probably just gonna vacate them and have a tournament.
That's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah,
but I feel like especially on SmackDown, that's the way they can do it. Have the tag team titles be something for the summer, kind of like how. We had those crazy tag matches with Rey Mysterio, Edge, and then Chris Benoit and Angle, Eddie Guerrero and Chavo, like throughout the summer. Like they can do something similar to what that was when they had those SmackDown titles. So hopefully they.
I don't know if anybody can do anything similar to what that tag match was. That was one of the best tag matches I've ever seen in my life. That triple threat tag team match with those teams. I don't think anyone's gonna repeat that.
Nah, that was
you look at the Hall of Fame talent in there. We go about Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. Like, hey, come on.
No, that was crazy. That was crazy. That was on the mid card on SmackDown. That was the mid card on SmackDown. Like, very tough act to follow. But interesting draft going on, and we'll see what happens with it.